Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Our family started RVing a few years ago, and when I think about all those campfires and fishing trips and sporting events, these are memories that are going to last a lifetime. I want to help others do the same thing. Hi, I'm Kevin Smith, General Manager at the all-new CLICKIT RV in Milton Freewater. People in this community are very familiar with this location and the great service they've always received. So the biggest question we get is, where is Keith? The great news is, Keith is still here.
I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of things come and go. Through all the changes that we have seen, one thing that has not changed for us is the quality of our service.
Buying an RV is a big purchase, but it should be a fun and happy experience. So whether it be in sales or service or parts, our mission is simple: be the best. From our team here at CLICKIT RV in Milton Freewater, we invite you to come down and experience the difference.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to coverage of iRacing on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network. Happy Wednesday night to you. And yes, some of the cool things that we used to do are coming back, like seeing Carrot Top's head again. Jason, I missed you, brother. I forgot what you look like.
I'm going home. Yeah. No, man, it's cool to be able to actually see each other for once and stuff like that. You know, I mean, it's been a little bit of a long time, but hey, we're back here, man. And tonight we're at Legacy Atlanta. One of my personal favorites, something that was near and dear to my heart on the iRacing service. Pretty much besides, I think, Las Vegas, I think it was the first real full week of racing I did at official stuff when I first joined iRacing. I got a few wins in the trucks here. So I'm looking forward to this race tonight. This is definitely one of my favorite tracks to drive on the sim.
And it's the old Atlanta. Let's remember what the word legacy is. Legacy Atlanta, before the repave, before making it become a super speedway now, if you will. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of the new Atlanta, but there's also something about this abrasive racing surface that is the 1.5 mile Atlanta Motor Speedway. And I've always said this, Jason, I wish the powers that be of iRacing could find a way to get the blueprint of the old Atlanta Motor Speedway and put that in the iRacing server too.
Yeah, that would be awesome to see. But, you know, I mean, obviously technology only goes so far. And, hey, you know, with things like this, with old rescans and stuff like that from the laser scanning and digital scanning that iRacing was able to do, this was the Atlanta Motor Speedway that we all knew and, you know, loved and ran for ages. You know, from 2008. Yes. This was a scan from 2008, and we ran all the way until the second half of 2022, where they finally added the new Atlanta into the service that we all know and love. And now, thankfully, though, they still provide us and name this Legacy. All they did was put Legacy in front of it. So we still have the opportunity to run this. I definitely love this track.
So listen, we welcome you to round 13. Normally 13's a bad number, right? This is round 13. This is the final opportunity if you have ran all 12 races, Jason Rockefeller. By the way, I'm Wesley Outland. Forgot to do the official introductions. Charles Wooten is in the CLICKIT RV production booth as qualifying is about to go on track in just a moment. But this is the final round, if you will, for this series to make it into the playoffs, whether virtue of wins and having the most starts. And you're going to see a scoring ticker tonight that's obviously, Jason, going to be more better in explaining to our viewing audience with the hard work of Charles Wooten working behind the scenes of where we're at right now. Meaning that if you've got a win, but you're outside the top 12 or don't have enough starts, you're in blue. If you're in green, you've got wins, and right now you're in the points if you're in blue. Green if you've got a win, but you don't have 13 starts. What I mean to say by that is I digress. Tonight is the night for a lot of these drivers, if they've ran all the races, that we can start tallying who could be going into the playoffs as we move in to the penultimate race of the regular season next week.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously for these guys, it's going to be interesting to see who is going to be setting themselves up to be into the playoffs. I mean, you look at it too. There's a lot of guys, we were talking about, obviously a little bit confusing even for somebody like myself. I know our producer, Charles Woot, was talking to us before about how Devin West, despite having 2 or 3 wins this year, he only has 9 starts. So he has to make it in based on points, not based on wins, playoff points, and etc. He has to make it in based on pure points, something that we don't usually talk about nowadays when it comes to points formats here within the NASCAR division, whether it be trucks, Xfinity, Cup, you name it, other than ARCA and stuff like that. But that's a whole different story. So for these guys tonight, they're going to have to be on their A game. They want good finishes, and this is a track that's going to eat up those tires. So you're going to have to just kind of keep the tires on it for sure, no doubt about it.
Let's go to on track, as it looks like we got qualifying going on right now. And here's a look real quickly of the point standings. Your top 20 that we were referring to. Sean Brightsman obviously is the man leading the way. And remember, Devin West right now, he has climbed his way into the top 12. Top 12 advanced to the playoffs, Jason. But here's the deal. He's got to get all last 3 races ran. He cannot miss. He cannot miss the next 3 weeks, or if he does, he will be out of the playoffs by literally 1 race, not making 12.
Yeah, and he's going to have to, like we said, be on his own game too. You think about it, from 7th place back to 12th. I mean, that's not that big of a gap. When you look at it in retrospect, 367 back to 341. That's not that many points. And Frank Harris, the legend, has that last transfer spot right now over John Ottenbacher, but he needs to show up. I mean, 1 race he misses, he's going to be out of this race. So with that being said, make sure if you're Devin West tonight, you come into tonight, earn as many points as you can, and make sure you run these next few races.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you as we go back to on-track activity now with qualifying. Find somebody on the track. Here we go. And speak of the devil, the number 12 in the points, Frank Harris. There he is, the number 11 for Aerokinetics Esports. And I'll tell you what, Jason, he has really improved in probably the last month and a half in both the truck and in this car, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Wesley, for sure. I mean, Frank, obviously, we call him the legend for a reason. Man, he's making himself out there being a legend. Really, really strong, too, recently. I mean, you look at his stats this season, 1 top 5, 4 top 4s, or not top 4s, top 10, excuse me. But, he's just the driver who's out here trying to consistently get that seat time week in and week out. We talk about the off-season or off-season break we had during the mid-season, actually. Let me correct myself again, mid-season break. And after Worldwide Technology Raceway, or Gateway as most people know it, came back weeks later. And we had the GT3 series, we had the Gen 4 series, and Frank was in those races, and he ran those races, and we talked about how that seat time was going to make some of those drivers better. 3 drivers I look at, Frank Harris, Brett Johnson, Toby Ritters. 3 of those guys have probably been 3 of the strongest guys who ran most of those fun series over that mid-season break.
On board, Kevin Smith. Rip roaring around Atlanta. He's making his way down in the backstretch area right now off of turn 2. And I'll tell you what, too, Jason, I just want to say this. What a field of cars we got for this class tonight, too. Car count's really good for a third win tonight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it here. It's looking like we're going to have just about 30 cars, if I'm correct. Maybe somewhere a little bit less. But with that being said, yeah, 30 cars pretty much. Going to be a great field here tonight for Legacy Atlanta. Obviously, I talked about it earlier in the broadcast. Great track, near and dear to my heart. One of my favorites. First full week on iRacing took place here at Atlanta in the Truck Series. Upgraded to the B car, the Xfinity car, which is what we know here as the CLICKIT RV fixed car in our terms over here in the Northwest Division. But yeah, this is a racetrack with the amount of horsepower, the lack of downforce that these Xfinity Series cars have. Tires are going to shred a lot more than most series, obviously, being run here, just because of the horsepower, the downforce, or lack of downforce. These guys are in for a handful tonight, so we could see one of those classic, fantastic Atlanta finishes, as DW used to say back in the day. We'll have to see what this race provides for us tonight.
Hey, by the way, want to let everybody know as well, not only are we back live on our YouTube feed, hit that like and subscribe button. If you haven't done so, hit the bell so you can keep up with the content of everything from LSRTV. But in addition to that, Jason, we are also back live on Facebook at LSRTV. How about that?
Oh, yeah. The more, the better. No doubt about it. More eyes being viewed. Great platforms, obviously, to be streaming on. No doubt about it. Love YouTube, love the Facebook Live that we do. So it's good to see us being able to do those two here tonight. And those folks watching, they're sure in for one heck of a race here tonight in Atlanta.
And, of course, in addition to that, we're also simulcast on the radio, 87.9 FM, and the Community Radio Network. Dan West Jr. right now, fast man in qualifying. And there goes Tyler King. Got that Michael Waltrip throwback Xfinity car, the Band-Aid car, if you will. And right now, we'll see where he's at. He's way in the back right now, as qualifying could possibly be coming to an end. A couple of more cars. Looks like there's 5 or 6 that are yet to take time. And by the way, just a moment ago, Tyler King right now, 23rd. Jason, that is a struggling time for him. He normally is not in the back like that.
Yeah, definitely not at all like that. I mean, there's a lot of guys, obviously, here who are kind of all over the place, too. Some guys having great qualifying runs, some guys not having great qualifying runs. I mean, Frank Harris, P6 on the board, man. Talk about a lap for him. Great lap. Troy Daggett, talk about a lap for him, 31.5. And then you go back in the pack. You have some guys who are struggling. Kevin Smith, you mentioned as well. Jeff Stabnow, 31.7, 15th as well. There's going to be a lot of guys who are in that back half of the field making their way up through. And then there's going to be guys up in that front half of the field that could struggle just because of them fast heater laps they put down. We'll have to see how everybody's race pace is here tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be very fun to watch all of this shake down, no doubt about it, to see where we all end up along the way for tonight's event. Again, by the way, round 13. Real quickly, Kaufman Creative Weather Conditions, bottom right of the monitor, as you see who's going to be in victory lane here at the Legacy Atlanta Motor Speedway. Of course, air temp at 83 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, got sun poking through the Atlanta clouds now at virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. Track temp, though, Jason, 109 degrees on an abrasive track. We're going to be eating up tires.
Oh, my goodness. Don't even mention it. I'm sure they don't want to hear that here. We're coming down. These guys are getting ready to go. Let's get gritting.
Let's give you the starting lineup, round 13 from Legacy Atlanta. On the pole, Dan West Jr., the 55. Maybe he can turn things around because it was kind of a bad night for the driver in the truck on Monday night, no doubt, at Michigan. Troy Daggett, the 99. He'll be on the outside, row 1. Row 2, Ryan Bloom, winner, by the way, on, of course, I'm sorry, not Michigan. We're at Michigan this upcoming Monday. It was Richmond. Ryan Bloom, Richmond winner. And Joshua Marcy from Tennessee, outside, row number 2 in the 35. Paul Newton, the road course ringer. Got that Paul Newton Designs 27 in the 5th spot. Frank Harris on the outside in the 11. Row 4, Sean Brightsman and Ryan Gormley in the 22. Top 10, Jason, Devin West, remember, he's got to run all these last races. He's got to have the starts and the points to get it done. Gary Nichols in the 8th. He'll start 10th.
Top 20, row 6, you got Cliff with the big red dog. Toby Ritters, Roy Grande there in the number 18. Row 7, Chad Malik, Chris White in that 47 machine. Always fast at the mile and a half. Row 8, LSRTV's own Jeff Stabnow, driver who's improved over the midseason break. Being talked about earlier, Brett Johnson in the 7. Row number 9, William Fletcher, John Ottenbacher in that 89 machine as always. And row 10, Robert Gamble, CLICKIT RV's own Kevin Smith.
Row 11, starting 21st. It's going to be, of course, Carl Burke in the 53 to the outside. Sam Teets in the 79. Row 12, Field Rolls, Tyler King and B.J. Tidrick. Row 13, Chris Kamari and Scott Hutchinson in the 91. Row 14, Tyler, Kim, Ron Hunter. What a field as their field rolls off behind the pace car. And starting 29th, Chris Kynes in the 20. Just shy of 30 drivers, 29 cars, Jason, ready to come to green here as they come next time by to the green, brother.
This is going to be interesting with how hot this track conditions are here tonight. Just want to take a look. Let's see if we can get that Kaufman Creative Weather Conditions back up for just a second. Look at how hot it is. 104. Oh, man, 1 degree. I wonder what it's going to do. Guess what, Wesley? Absolutely nothing, man. 104-degree track temperature here is going to eat up these things here in the hot Atlanta sun, no doubt about it. 83 ambient air temp. Wind speed, not going to be a factor, but with that track temperature being that hot, Wesley, these tires are going to be screaming.
Well, it was 109 whenever we started to show the Kaufman Creative Weather Conditions. Now it's dropped to 105, 104. It might be because of a cloud. Don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, you see us back on camera with our ugly mugs. You see all the graphics that are back. Another thing that's back is Feel the Roar. We're green at Atlanta. You have a race. We got trouble. Ottenbacher into the safer barrier, spinning back onto the infield pit lane grass, but no caution yet. This happened right at the end of Feel the Roar, Jason, and that's trouble for the Billings, Montana driver. We still stay under the green flag, and actually they were getting more antsy before that happened.
Yeah, I saw one car, a yellow and black car, heading into turns 3 and 4, get on the apron, Wesley, and then all of a sudden the thing just jumped sideways. They all started stacking up, looked like they were going to save it. Then John Ottenbacher ultimately got turned right in front of the field, came down to the grass. Surprisingly, iRacing did not throw the yellow, nor did the race admin. So, kind of surprising to see as you see Frank Harris had his shade off turn number 2. He's going to lose 1, 2, 3 positions now as they work their way down into 3 and 4.
Yeah, tough right there for Frank Harris, and another battle going on for the lead. Okay, so by the way, you're looking at the scoring pylon, and you're seeing all these colors in blue and red, or blue and green and black. Okay, so let's give you the layout of the land here. If you have green, it means that you have at least won a race or more, and you are in the top 12 to advance to the playoffs. You're not officially in yet if you're in blue. If you're in blue, it means you haven't won a race, Jason, but you're points-wise at least in the hunt to advance. Just want to explain that. Hopefully that can be better and understand.
Yeah, and that's something obviously that we used to talk about here earlier on, in the sport of NASCAR and stuff like that, before we had the playoff system back in 2014 started. Used to have the point standings. Obviously, lots of people, controversial topic. Some people want it back. Some people don't want it back. Obviously, some people, though, like myself, are balanced in the middle of it. But that being said, though, this is the points format that we are presented with. So the opportunity now with this, there's no locking in. As you see the 8 of Gary Nichols slapping the wall out of the quad oval there, heading into turn number 1. He's able to collect it. But with that being said, these guys who are in the blue, like Newton, Harris, Johnson, and some others, they have to have good nights tonight because every single point matters.
200 miles, 134 laps here tonight at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. And watching now Marcy down to the inside, the Tennessee driver. Hey, by the way, speaking of Tennessee fan, excited to announce that Terry Radford will be back in the broadcast booth with yours truly on Monday nights for the continuation of the final 8 races of the Northwest Racing Series Truck Series presented by CLICKIT RV playoffs beginning Monday. Looking forward to having Terry Radford back in the booth. Obviously, Jason, I know you enjoy working the Road to Pro NASCAR programs with him, and we're looking forward to having him on Monday nights. Right now, looking at this, Marcy on board, Bloom. He wants to double down. Jason, he won Richmond on Monday night.
Oh, yeah, he'd love to double down for sure. I mean, and that was just a great performance by him on Monday night from the virtual Richmond Raceway. What better week would it be presented to him than to have 2 for 2 here on this week in September? You see him now going to the inside there, battling with Troy Daggett, who had a very, very impressive run in qualifying, still side by side going into 1 and 2. Back behind them, you see Sean Brightsman almost able to clear Paul Newton, but with the multi-groove racing aspects here at Atlanta, no line is really the dominant line here.
By the way, just want to let you know, the driver that is number 4 unofficially in the points, Stephen O'Hare, Jason, he is not here tonight. That would fill out the 12 graphics of either blue or green, and Stephen O'Hare would have a blue because he has not won a race and he's in the top 12. And honestly, not being here tonight, he might fall out of the top 12.
Yeah, definitely for sure. We'll have to see, obviously, as this race progresses here. I mean, came into tonight 4th, has 3 top 5s this season, 6 top 10s. And obviously, he's ran all races minus the 1 tonight. So that is not going to be a good thing for him. We'll see what the drop is like, obviously, after this week with the point standings. But hey, everybody else, though, still out here running their own race, 12 laps in. So far, so clean, besides the one incident with John Ottenbacher at the first lap. Only a couple guys, or 3 guys rather, are 1 lap down or more. BJ Tidrick, 1 lap down in 26th, 27th, 28th. You have Ottenbacher, 3 laps down. And Roy Grande Jr. in 28th, and Scott Hutchison at 91 did not start. So far, Wesley, so clean here at Atlanta.
Aerial coverage presented by LSRTV, your home for sim racing. And going back to the way things used to be with our coverage, with our content, and all the things that we are doing that we've kind of been so frustratingly not able to do, Jason, because of technical internet woes, problems for me before. I know that obviously Charles was just ticked off to no end, and finally things are working great with what he's got going on. Don't want to jinx anything, but obviously look at this awesome field of cars working their way off turn 4 here at Atlanta, and right now it is all Dan West Jr. in the front.
Yeah, Dan West Jr. trying his best to try to win here tonight, obviously. Great run for that 55 machine here pretty much all season. I mean, you look at it, he's actually had a lot of good runs, with his son and whatnot. I mean, he finished first just a week ago at Michigan, so he is your race winner, trying to go off of another win here tonight and make it 2 in a row. So what a night it would be if the West boys could try to finish 1-2 again. Devin's all the way up to 7th right now, up 2 spots from where he started. So maybe we'll see the West boys up here at the front. Another father and son duo action tonight later on in Atlanta.
All that going on right now as we work lap number 15 of 134 laps now, 200 miles. Legacy Atlanta had that little scare earlier in the start on lap 2 with Audenbacher and a couple other cars in the back, Roy Grande and others, but right now things have kind of simmered down. Ryan Gormley, remember Ryan Gormley, the TRD number 22? He's really put himself in a nice position with 1 win, Jason. Remember Ryan Gormley, 1 win. You see, that's why he's in green. And if I remember correctly, I think it came in Atlanta. Or
yeah,
Texas.
That 22 machine's been really fast all season long. I want to say it was Texas, actually, thinking back.
No, it was Charlotte.
Charlotte.
It was Charlotte,
that's what
buddy.
it was. Yeah, it was Charlotte. But hey, Ryan Gormley has done great all season long. I'd like to make a little joke earlier in the season. I kept calling him your prodigy. You kept on saying how good he was, how much. Oh, he gets really loose right there off turn number 2. Yeah. Not trying to comment.
But talking about out of the playoff run, basically it just means, Jason, that they haven't won a race because they're not in green and they're not in the top 12. They're in blue. But anything can change. Obviously, one of our points guys can have a bad night. Obviously, Stephen O'Hare is not here tonight. He was one of the guys in the top 5 in the points in 4th. He's going to drop down on the scoring pylon. So even though they might be in black dark right now, it does not mean per se that they're eliminated from the playoffs just yet. And we got a report from our producer and on pit road, Charles Wooden. What you got for us, boss?
I actually talked to Chris White coming into this race, and his work schedule has completely changed. He is going to be working nights, so his unless something changes, his chances here are pretty much done. He won't be able to make any races following tonight, so he has a win in the top 12, and he basically said he's done for the season. So that opens up a spot right there.
Wow. And so again, obviously, you see Chris White, he is in green because he does have a win here this year. Obviously, he's got 1 win, Jason. He's number 5 in the point standings. Chris White's most recent win came at, I believe, Nashville. He's got the win at Nashville whenever he won back in April. Been a while, but he did it. And now all of that's going to change. So to answer your question, Russ Lundwig, no, if you've got those dark boxes and you're not in bright blue or green, you still, Jason, got a chance to make your way in there.
Yeah, you definitely still have a chance, obviously, to make it. I mean, Toby Ritter's right now, he's currently sitting in 8th, and he is only 14th in the points, obviously. So we'll see how he is. Obviously, John Ottenbacher, too, in 26th, 3 laps down right now. But he came in tonight right outside that cutoff. So if somehow, some way, he's able to rebound, it could salvage a good points night for him, maybe half the field wrecks, who knows, or he can somehow magically get those laps back, being able to pass a lot of guys. It would be a great run for him, but Toby Ritters looks like he's going to probably overtake John Ottenbacher for that 13th position in points tonight.
Battle for 5th going on now in turn 3. Troy Daggett up the hill, bottom of the racetrack goes Paul Newton, who normally is really good in the road courses, but honestly, Jason, with 6 top 5s and 10 top 10s, he has done well in this series. He is 2nd with no wins, being consistent as he's fighting the car going down to the turn 1.
Yeah, he's been really consistent, obviously, all season. I mean, you know, that 27 machine is always really a threat. You know, we talk about him as the road course king usually, but he's still right there. And even tonight, came in here. You know, he's got no wins so far, but he's got 1 pole, 6 top 5s, 10 top 10s. So when you look at it, too, all but 2 races that he's ran, he has not finished inside the top 10. So it has been a very good season for him, and he's actually led the 2nd most laps to Sean Brightsman this season. So Paul Newton, still one of those guys. Don't count him out. He may be the road course king, but he very well could be top dog coming this season.
And Jason, I was just about to tell Charles to go to Toby Ritters. He was reading my mind, the driver for Win Racing. This is a driver right now that even though he's got the dark black on the scoring ticker, he's not boldly lit in blue or green. He has been doing a phenomenal job, getting better and better week in, week out. Right now, he's battling two cars, getting around Gormley, getting around the driver Newton, put Ritters up to 6th. And Jason, he is outside the top 12. But listen to me. He's got a chance to go to the playoffs. He's just got to play his cards right and do what he's doing in that Win Racing 23.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it, Wesley. And out of most of the guys around him, he's actually currently the fastest driver, compared to some of those guys around him. Last time around, 33-second bracket for him, high 33s. Most guys are in the 34s already. He's running lap times similar almost to the top 3 leaders. He's running faster than 5th or 4th right now. I just cannot believe. And listen, I know we talk about Toby Ritters week in and week out, and I always sit here and praise him. And I know people probably sit here and like, oh, you talk about him a lot. But if you are being talked about yourself by me, you're doing something right. Or you could be somebody else running at the back and somehow wrecking. That's how you get my attention too. But with that being said, Toby Ritters, he has been a driver who last season, when I came on board with LSRTV, he struggled, man. And he struggled a lot. And I don't mean like just a lot. I mean a lot. He was wrecking. He was all over the place. Didn't really know what line he wanted to run. Getting involved in other people's incidents. And now this season, he got a win last year at Talladega in the trucks. Now he finds himself in a position where he can make the playoffs. No wins yet this season, but this 23 machine, ever since from the beginning of the season to now, is a totally different Toby Ritters. That 23 machine is on rails, man. And I tell you what, with how fast he is so far here tonight, this number 23 machine, man, do not, and I mean do not, count him out.
I think we take pride in the best of our abilities to try to acknowledge each and every driver that is on that racetrack, because honestly, being given the title over the weekend, the voice of LSRTV, and being the voice of the Northwest Racing Series for nearly 4 years since the pandemic in 2020, Jason, you grow to know these drivers. You build relationships with your drivers, with your audience, with your fan bases, and honestly, I would love to give props and say every one of these guys have a chance to win the championship. But when you see guys like Ritters or like, Tyler King or Ryan Bloom, Frank Harris, battle for the lead going on now. And here comes Ryan Bloom, as I mentioned, the Monday night winner. Powers is 25 for Win Racing, getting around Dan West Jr. And the truck win at Richmond Monday. He's trying to do the same thing here at Atlanta. But back to what I was saying, though, Jason, there was a time where Ryan Bloom he couldn't get out of his own way. He had problems. He got involved in wrecks. He blew engines. And now you've got championship contenders, and I love the fact that it just shows the caliber. You want to talk about the premier iRacing series of the Northwest? It is the Northwest truck in the Xfinity B series, CLICKIT RV fixed setup program.
Yeah, and something too, and obviously I talked about it too with Toby Ritters about how, that more seat time that he had during that mid-season break really improved him as a driver. When I first started, the final Devin West sideways on the track, saves it. What a save. That could have been detrimental there for that 5 season. Remember, needs to run all the races, needs to rack up all the points that he can get. And so far, was able to do just that. He's out. I thought he was coming to the pits for a second, but turns out he's just really, really loose. But back to what I was saying, I mean, you look at everybody, obviously, and how much they've grown. And if there's one thing that I know when it comes to obviously being on the sim and being the most realistic thing it is by driving to one of these things, and how hard it is and the dedication, the time it takes. And I told myself, I was like, man, I just don't think I can do it. I can't come to myself and want to sit down and practice. And my buddy Kenny Brady told me, he said, if you want to get better, seat time is key. The more seat time you have, the better driver it makes you. And look at what it's doing for drivers like Toby Ritters, like Troy Daggett, like Chad Malik, Frank Harris. More seat time makes you a better driver because it makes you craft your craft, if you get what I'm saying. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. That's basically
Pardon the
how
pun.
it works. Oh yeah, exactly.
We'll give you the full, and Devin West is on pit road. We'll give you the full field rundown, as I think green flag pit stops could be on the horizon as well. Devin West, Joshua Marcy, all coming in. We're also coming up on the top of the hour. We'll pause for 10 seconds of network identification. Let them identify themselves. We're back from CRN and LSRTV from Atlanta, the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fix B Series.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Back at Atlanta, LSRTV CRN coverage of round number 13 of the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fix Setup B Series on Wesley Outlet. Jason Rockefeller is alongside Charles Wooten in the production booth. And green flag pit stops, Jason, are ongoing as we are just about 50 miles into this race here for 200 miles at Atlanta tonight.
Yes. It started on lap 34, lap 35 with Devin West coming into the pits. And we see Kevin Smith right now taking a long time into the pits. My guess is he probably has to serve a black flag. More than likely, that's why he's still sitting there. No doubt about it. And there he goes. He's finally off and away. We'll have to try to see if maybe we can get an update later than that. Yeah, 56 seconds I'm hearing in my ear. That was the total time on pit road. And when you think about it, Wesley, that's almost 2 laps worth of time. These guys are running 33-second lap times. That's basically 2 laps here.
So we watch Chris Kynes. We watch others pit right now. While we have this going on, Jason, let's give him the full field rundown as it stands right now. By the way, Scott Hutchinson attempted to try to make the race, but unfortunately, mechanical woes make him not able to drop the green. So 28 drivers took the green flag when we done Feel the Roar. It's Ryan Bloom, Dan West Jr., Sean Brightsman, Troy Daggett, Toby Ritters, Christopher White, Paul Newton, Ryan Gormley, Chad Malik is 9th. Frank Harris, Jason, your top 10 here at Atlanta.
Yeah, and then you look at the rest of the field so far. You have Jeff Stab now climbing up the rankings. Oh, we got one car sideways. That's the 30 machine of Ron Hunter. He's going to click the tow button. He's going to tow to the garage. That's going to be, or the pit road, I should say, rather. That's going to be our first caution of the night, Wesley. Let's take a look here and see what happened heading into 1.
Just after 50 miles into it, green flag pit stops looming. Ron Hunter slamming the safer barrier on the front straightaway, and not done yet as he sends it into turn number 1. Funnels up the racetrack, slams it one more time in the diamond of the corner. Into 1 and 2, continues to ride the safer barrier, and finally tail spins it front car in to the inside. And there is the caution as he went down to the bottom of the apron. Yellow flag first time in the race here at Atlanta. Wow.
That was a hard hit.
And you know what sucks now, pardon the pun, guys like Marcy, West, Tidrick, and others, they're going to be fired back a lap and hope that they can get the wave around because, honestly, they're stuck a lap down.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. You know, that's the thing. When it comes to green flag pit stops, everybody, and here's the thing, is I used to never understand it when I was younger. Now that I'm a lot older, I understand it more. As you see everybody starting to come down pit road, why wouldn't you pit, right? You already ran 40 laps under green practically. Those tires are screaming. Definitely come down and take 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. But with that being said, I used to think, oh, he pitted before the caution's out. He's going to not have to pit. But I didn't realize when I was younger, these guys are going to get trapped a lap down. You don't want that caution to come out right away, right after you pit. You want that caution to come out right after you get back on the lead lap, because with that being said, then you're going to look like a genius in front of everybody. Or you want these guys to run a few laps, maybe get in position for the lucky dog. So that being said, obviously, these guys look like they're going to be taking the wave around possibly.
Looks like Dan West Jr. is going to beat Sean Brightsman off the pit lane. I love that camera, the race off pit road. You see the top 16 storming back onto the racetrack, funneling into 1 and 2. And Dan West Jr., the Shelton, Washington driver, struggled at Richmond on Monday night in the truck. But tonight here at Atlanta, everything is going perfectly for the driver of the 55. Sean Brightsman is in second, Troy Daggett third. Toby Ritters, Ryan Bloom after pit stops will be in the top 5. Let's step away. 40 laps. We're closing in on the restart. When we return, we're back in a moment from Atlanta. The coverage of the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup B Series on LSRTV and CRN.
Time. It slips through our fingers like sand, flowing endlessly, yet holding immeasurable power within its grasp. Tick by tick, it shapes our lives, marking the moments that define us. For 10 long years, the Lone Star 600 has carved a path of endurance through time, a race unlike any other, where the boundaries of human and machine are pushed to their limits. Over 180 cars, their engines roaring in unison as drivers push the limits of their cars and themselves. For 300 laps each night, they dance with danger, locked in a race against time itself. The Lone Star 600 is a testament to human resilience. It's not just a race, it's a test of wills, a fight against the unforgiving clock. Join us as we celebrate a decade of unparalleled speed and unyielding determination. The 10th annual Lone Star 600, a race that defies time and etches itself into racing history.
Some of these guys, I've been racing with them a long time, and they are good. They are real good. Winning a race like this is a big deal.
Lights off for the pace car, getting ready to come back for the green flag. 43 or 42 of 200 miles, 134 laps the distance. Here with Team LSRTV, now on the front row, Dan West Jr. and Sean Brightsman, Chevrolet and Toyota, ready to bring them back to the green flag. About 4 Chevrolets there from third on back to 6th, with Ritters, Daggett, White, Bloom, and Stab now in a Ford with Newton, a Ford with King, and a Toyota with Chad Malik right now in the top 10. Ready, Jason, to bring them to the restart here out of turn number 4.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see with Dan West Jr., Sean Brightsman, Troy Daggett, Toby Ritters here coming down this time to take the green flag after that first caution of the night caused by Ron Hunter. Green flag's out. We're back racing in Atlanta.
Spinning tires in the back, Ryan Bloom. Paul Newton might have not got fired up in time, and it made everyone check up on the inside row, and somehow they get scatterbrained, but dive off perfectly into turn 2 and funnel back out of the back straightaway perfectly, Jason.
Everybody now heading down to turns 3 and 4. You see the 46 Sean Brightsman, your current points leader, coming into the night, trying to chase down last week's winner at Michigan. Oh, he gets squirrely. He's loose. He saves it off turn 4, trying to chase down Dan West Jr. We take a look at the onboard camera facing the driver of the number 46 machine, trying his hardest. You hear the tires squealing. Just listen to those things. They're squealing, man. They are absolutely squealing here. This track is so hot and stuff like that. The grip, there's literally no grip out here. You're just fighting for dear life here in these race cars.
Especially grinding in the turns. Let's take a listen now as we go. Well, we changed camera angle. I was going to say, let's see if we can go back on board and listen to him go into turn 1. Listen to this. And you hear, Jason, you hear it. Oh, boy. Well, you see him fighting the wheel, too. You see him fighting the wheel.
That's the thing. These tires, they squeal, man. And your goal here at Atlanta, obviously you don't want to burn that right front. But you are driving off the right rear here in Atlanta. You do not want to burn up that right rear. Absolutely. And oh my goodness, well, I'm going to bed and cranking up the AC. Look at that track temp. 110 degrees. Wesley, that's just a tad bit hotter than what we had going on in practice and qualifying, man. And this track is only going to get hotter probably.
Ryan Bloom now trying to make a climb through the field, obviously closing in. 23rd, took a couple of laps down. What a difference a race makes. He won at Richmond in the truck, and now he is struggling. And honestly, Jason, I know he went a lap down, but I think it also hurt him whenever he was trying to make green flag pit stops, and then that mired him back when we got the caution with Ron Hunter.
Yeah, I don't know if something happened to the 25 machine in order for him to come down and probably lose a couple laps and come and pit. I just don't understand. The guy restarted inside the top 10, and all of a sudden now he's mired back all the way in 23rd, 2 laps down. I mean, I just don't know, but we'll have to see if he can rebound. Still a lot of time. We're coming up to lap 50 this time by here. So we'll see if that 25 machine somehow, some way can climb his way back up through this race if he has more cautions.
Yeah, but I just thought about that. He was on the lead lap. He was right there with that crazy restart that just happened when they came back into the Geico restart zone. And whatever happened from there, Ryan Bloom came down on pit road, and now that's why he's multiple laps down. Right now, if a caution was to come out, BJ Tidrick, the 72, would be the free pass. Right now, look at Marcy. Got King in tow. That is Tidrick up on the top right that I mentioned. That's the top right from the inside wall. You're left on the monitor. And that is, of course, Tidrick, the In-N-Out Burgers car, 1 lap down. All this happening, a big gaggle of traffic to get back on the lead lap out of 4.
Yeah, big gaggle of traffic here. You look on the board with Joshua Marcy. Right behind him, you have Tyler King. Then you have BJ Tidrick there. Everybody grouped up as they head into 1 and 2. Almost near contact between King and Tidrick. Tidrick working to the outside, though, this time by off turns 1 and 2. It's double wide all the way until you get back to Devin West, trying to ride right behind Ryan Gormley this time into 3.
Devin West, remember, drivers in green have at least 1 races, but they're not in the top 12. Or they're at least not officially in by points. If you've got blue, you're in the top 12 in the points, but you don't have a win. If you're in dark, well, you still got a chance to go to the playoffs. You're just not in it right now. And look at now Tidrick fighting by Marcy for that spot. He is still a lap down. He's got to get to William Fletcher, by the way, last truck car on the lead lap. And they got to catch Dan West Jr. All of this going on. Traffic-wise, it's in the top 10, Jason, coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, this is a huge gaggle of trucks.
This is a storm brewing.
Oh, yeah, definitely a storm brewing. And don't worry, we've seen big wrecks happen here at Atlanta. They usually happen on restarts. Think back to 2015 when Denny Hamlin, Jamie McMurray, they got into it coming off turn 2, started a multi-car wreck. And then just that same race had a big wreck with Clint Boyer, Greg Biffle going into 3 on a restart. But when you have cars like this on a track with this slick of surface, you can just imagine that there is a storm a-brewing here at Atlanta.
King on the inside. That is, of course, with Devin West's car. All this going on with the battle. Down that back straightaway. Devin West watching. So is also Brett Johnson. That was Brett Johnson, correction. Up in front in 13th, the number 7 car for Team LSRTV. And all of this happening now. 55 laps when they come to the line next time around. And Dan West Jr. is the leader. He's got about a half-second lead over teammate Sean Brightsman, Chevrolet and Toyota. A couple of Chevrolets of Troy Daggett and Christopher Wine in the top 5 with a Ford of Jeff Stabnow. And Jason, speaking of Jeff Stabnow, let's give him some love. The 24 right now comfortably on the racetrack, doing well, staying in the top 5. He's 9th in the points. He does have a win Remember, he won back in April at Kansas. Been a while, but it's been consistent for the Billings, Montana former champion of the Northwest.
Yeah, been a great run for him so far here tonight, up 10 spots from where he started. But another driver, too, that I'm looking at, and you just mentioned him before, Wesley, obviously looking like going to be his last race of the season unless something happens. Chris White. There he is, that 47 Chris White machine. Obviously, always a beautiful car. Won at Nashville earlier this year, ultimately due to obviously some personal stuff, his life going on with work. Not going to be able, looking like it, to make the playoffs, so his spot is ultimately going to be given up. But how cool would it be for him knowing, hey, I got other stuff to do, got to take care of business before I can have some fun here in the virtual sim racing cockpit, running fourth. And guess what? He's running down Troy Daggett. So maybe we could see this 47 play a factor up here later on in this race.
You know, Jason, a nice way to explain Christopher White in CW Racing. It's honestly like if you're one of those low-tier Cup Series teams that have a charter, but you're not a Hendrick and you're not a Gibbs and you're not a Stewart Haas or a Fenway. You literally are on the cusp of just doing what you got to do with your single car operation. And that's what Chris White's done. He's been in the battles for championships over the years. He's won races. Obviously, you mentioned he won earlier this year on the series. He won in the trucks this year at Indianapolis. Christopher White, definitely, even though he's a one-man team, he every time he settles in and runs these races, make no doubt, he's a threat to win. And right now, he's in that top 5 in the 4th spot.
Yeah, and obviously Chris White, always a driver who is a threat to win week in and week out. You see the 53 machine right now, Carl Burke on pit road currently right now. Going to be going multiple laps down there, sitting inside of his box. But you see the 47, Chris White talked about how he was going to be catching Troy Daggett. Sure enough, he did. And look at that, Wesley, going right by him on the inside this time. Heading off 2, gets a little loose. Will he clear the 99? Not yet. Troy Daggett fights back on the outside into 3.
And Daggett's really come on strong the last couple of weeks as well, not even in the truck, but also as well in this B-Series car. Up on the outside, Daggett powers alongside White. This is going on for that 3rd spot, coming storming down to the start-finish line, closing in, by the way, in 6 more laps to 100 miles, and still a lot of racing left to go here as we are approaching halfway. They're battling again for 3rd out of 2.
Yeah, and this is a great battle going on, obviously, just between the 99 and the 47. And I mean, this 99 machine here of Troy Daggett has been absolutely phenomenal so far this year, just after this midseason break. I mean, he finished, second to last, but started in the top 10. And if it wasn't for an early accident in the race, he probably would have finished better. So, with that being said, I mean, this Troy Daggett machine, he is definitely somebody who is looking to try to improve that craft. Definitely did it during the midseason break. Only 1 top 10 this year. And it looks like he could try to go out here week in and week out now since the midseason break and capitalize if he doesn't do something like that.
Whoa.
Almost contact off turn number 4. Got loose on the top, came down, made a little bit of contact almost with the right front of Chris White. But that 99 machine, he could be a threat here for some top 10s, top 5s, maybe even a win here later in this season.
That was mad respect for, obviously, Troy Daggett to bounce off and hit the right front, still get on the binders, saves Chris White's car so he doesn't crash. And now they're side by side again. It's like deja vu all over again. This time, Daggett almost in the safer barrier, exiting turn 4. Saves it that time, and they are right now nose to nose, or door to door, if you will. Working on the bottom comes White, Daggett. This is the best battle on the racetrack as we are quickly approaching halfway in a few more laps.
Yeah, great battle between these two that they've been giving us here these last 5 laps now or so. This 47 just continuing to work that bottom side, Wesley. But that 99 is hanging tough on the outside. Whoa, Jeff Stout now nearly tanks, flaps it off the wall, looking like a dirt modified there off the corner, but thankfully kept it off the wall. And I mean, if he hit it, he kissed it. And I mean, just the slightest kiss, able to save it.
Here comes Ritters.
Here comes Toby Ritters to the inside. Top 5 position here for Clifford. Trying to get it from LSRTV's Jeff Stabnow here to 3.
He said, I'll take this misfortune that you have. Toby Ritters, Clifford down on the inside. CLICKIT RV, Win Racing, entry bomb speed, 23. Team LSRTV, 24. Couple of Fords there battling as they come to the line. Toby Ritters in a Chevrolet. And we are closing in again on the halfway mark of this race. It's Dan West Jr., Sean Brightsman, Chris White. They're all in green. They're all in the top 12. And now Jeff Stabnow is going to get a new retrieve and try to battle around Daggett for that spot going into turn number 3.
And here comes Jeff Stabnow down to the inside. Troy Daggett continuing to use that top side like he's been doing here. The last few laps, just not enough. Jeff Stabnow way too fast for him. You got to think Wesley, too. I think that 99 is probably burning up his stuff a lot. As much as he likes running that top lane in the multi-groove, remember, the higher you run, the more you are going to wear out those right sides. It may be the faster lane, but it's only going to be the faster lane if you save tires running that bottom to middle groove, and then venture up to the top side. But unfortunately for him, jumped up to the outside too much, loose off the corner, nearly makes contact with Ritters. That 99 is absolutely hurting. Got to be thinking probably green flag pit stops coming up here pretty soon. And this 99 can't wait to get a new set of Goodyear Eagles.
I think tires are worn out, no doubt. We're halfway, by the way. Let's go back inside the broadcast booth. We welcome you to the LSRTV Mid-Race Report Update. I am Wesley Outland, Jason Rockefeller down below, Charles Wooten chiming in a time or two, and, of course, handling our production as you continue to see side-by-side this battle going on between Troy Daggett and Toby Ritters, a couple of Chevrolets for the top 10. But, Jason, for the Marcy's on pit road. I would say, were we thinking we see pit stops about this time? I think it's on schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. These tires can only go about 40, 45 laps at max. I mean, they are absolutely hurting, though, come about 35. And these guys last pitted looking at the pit stat sheet. They pitted last at lap 40, and they were looking to pit at lap 35. The only reason they pitted at lap 40 was because the yellow was presented due to Ron Hunter. So that being said now, it's been 30 laps. Josh Marcy trying to do the undercut. We'll see how it works for him right now in 18th position, off and away. Who's going to be the next guy to come? And the thing I say when it comes to green flag pit stops, Wesley, is once you have one of those guys in the main top 5 running order at the time come down pit road, especially like if you were to see Toby Ritters come down pit road early, he'll try to leapfrog the field. That tends to bring everybody else in front of him, rather you say, down pit road. And then obviously the strategies start to unfold.
And green flag pit stops ongoing. By the way, right now it looks like 17, 18 cars on the lead lap as we're seeing this cycle of green flag pit stops go on. Jason, your take of the race so far. One caution so far of the race, but obviously we've seen battles for the lead. We've seen battles all through the top 15. Abrasive, Legacy, hot Atlanta. Not disappointing for another iRacing here tonight for the Northwest Series.
Yeah, definitely not at all, a bad race whatsoever. And one caution is to be expected here, at least one, maybe 2, 3. Don't be surprised with the long green flag runs. Remember, Atlanta Motor Speedway has always been a tire strategy races. Oh, we almost had a yellow right there. I just tensed up for a second. Ryan Gormley got really sideways out of the quad oval, your prodigy, and he was able to save it right there. That was a great job by him. But, I mean, yeah, typical Atlanta fashion style race. What else do you expect? But the Xfinity cars always put on a great show here at Atlanta with the low downforce, the high horsepower. That's why I love this track.
Dan West Jr., Sean Brightsman, Christopher White, Jeff Stabnow, Toby Ritters, your top 5. Newton, Daggett, King, Johnson, Malik, and pit stops are on the horizon, and that has been your Atlanta LSRTV mid-race update report as we go back to full screen. And Devin West, Jason, the quest to make it into those final 3 races on pit road in the 5 car, and doing much better on the racetrack as well in the 17th spot.
Yeah, definitely was able to make his way up just a little bit through the field, but really not the night I think that Devin has wanted. Usually we're used to seeing him up in the top 5, hasn't really got there yet. So far, it's really been the exact same top 5 you've seen here tonight. Besides Troy Daggett not being in there, it's Dan West Jr., Brightsman, White, Stabnow, Ritters. I mean, they've all done a great job here tonight. I think they're probably going to be your main top 5 to look out for. But Devin West just definitely has not had the run that I think he really wanted to here tonight. But obviously, this can still change. You know, can we see cautions? Can we see more strategy? Realistically, these guys are going to have to pit one more time here after this cycle of green flag pit stops is all said and done. So we'll see how it goes. You look at, whoa, Ritter's up the racetrack, almost hit the apron going into 1 and 2. He was able to gather it back up, lost the spot to Paul Newton after closing in on Jeff Stabnow. The green flag pit stops definitely start to loom here. Here comes the number 20 machine. That is Chris Kynes. Oh no. But hearing a penalty for Devin West, something he absolutely did not need. But hey, it's all right. He still's got 3 wins here. He's got the points. He just needs to run 3 races and be consistent.
Right.
That's all he needs, and he's doing that here tonight. So no harm, no foul, but definitely not something that 5 machine wanted to do.
Let's check in with Charles Wooten. Charles, we got an update on the 5. What happened to it?
Not sure, but he had a 26 second stop.
Speeding on pit road, maybe?
That would be my guess. He had a 26-second stop the first time, and he's gone.
He left.
Oh, no.
Wow. Devin West is gone.
He packed up and headed home.
Jason, now he will get credit for running the race. Am I correct? He'll at least get credit for running the race, but he's going to be mired way in the back in the top 25-30 finish, though.
Yeah, he's currently sitting in the 23rd spot, and if there's any drivers out front right now, obviously looking at it, Sam Teets, Robert Gamble, Roy Grande, even though they're on the racetrack, I believe, still, as far as I'm concerned, they cannot catch him at all, even with the amount of laps they run and unlap themselves compared to Devin West. But that's definitely not something Devin wanted to see. But hey, all he needs to do is run 3 races, start them. That's all that matters. I'm sure just because of the penalty, he said, you know what, I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to pack it up, head home virtually. And unfortunately, that's what he did. But yes, he will be credited with wherever he does finish here tonight.
Yeah, I want to say that he was given a penalty for too fast exiting or entering. And that's what happened as a 20-second penalty. And then he went a lap down. Then he went another lap down. Then he went 3 laps down waiting for the penalty. And he just said, to heck with it, I'm hitting the escape button. So, with that said, breaking story, Devin West out. So, if you're just joining us, Jason Rockefeller, I am Wesley Outland. Charles Wooten is working on production. Round 13 for the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup B-Series Xfinity cars tonight here in Atlanta. Green flag pit stops continue. Frank Harris, hold on the brakes and the binders to make it on pit road. If you see the green on the scoring ticker, that means it's drivers that have won races and that are in the current top 12. If you see blue, drivers that have not won races but are currently in the top 12. If you're a solid black on the scoring ticker, that means you're out here racing and you're not out of the chance for the playoffs, if you will, Jason. You're just not in it to win it right now.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. Now, I mean, some of these guys, don't get me wrong. Like, there is guys out here who are in black who definitely do not have a chance. There is no way remotely that they can make it up on points. Even if they were to lead every single lap and finish every single race off with a win here until the playoffs start. But for drivers I talked about before, obviously, you know, you have Toby Ritters, Seth Frazier, Josh Marcy. They're outside, but they could still point their way in, but they need to have good nights. Toby Ritters would be the only one probably who's the closest, along with Joshua Marcy, John Ottenbacher, to try to make it in on points that don't need great, amazing, star-studded nights, but they just need good nights.
Whoa! Dan West Jr. on pit road. We saw Sean Brightsman. Here comes Tyler Kim. all coming down to pit road. There's Chris Camary, One Fine Studios 15. Jason, money stop right now, you think? Right here?
Nah, not at all. Definitely not. These guys are going to have to make at least one more pit stop for sure, no doubt about it. I mean, it's lap 83 out of 134. They're going to have to make at least one more pit stop. I'm sure some of these guys are going to try to stretch it, though, no doubt about it, and try to just make it in off fuel. But just because of how fast the tire degradation is here and how much faster you are on fresher tires, I mean, put it this way. Let me just put it this way. So I'm looking down the running order.
Think about 110, 115 are going to come? You think about 110, 115?
There. Oh, whoa, just snap through the grass, saves it. What a save. But with that being said, think about this. Lap 81, right? Dan West Jr. ran the fastest lap time of the race on fresh tires, 31.538. The leader right now, or at least third place, of Toby Ritter's is running 34.106. That is a huge amount of time. So you are gaining 3 seconds of time on fresh tires. So even if some of these guys were to stretch it and try to make it a one-stopper till the end, I just don't think they're going to do it. You're going to have guys trying to stretch it, but they definitely need to pit one more time if you're going to win this race.
And by the way, with all that went on just a moment ago with Jeff Stabnow and more, Paul Newton up to second. Toby Ritter's, his Chevrolet, now to third. Chris White, the leader. They do need to pit, though. Right now, Chris White, the leader. He is not pitted. Neither is Paul Newton. Toby Ritter's 1 pit each. Jeff Stabnow, Jason, and I attribute what we just saw because of the tires. And now look at this, Jay. It feels like massive. It's like cloudiness at its finest now. For the first time today in Atlanta, you literally are seeing like darkness over the Atlanta racetrack, at least in turn number 1 and 2. And then you see the sun again going to 3 and 4 off the backstretch.
Yeah, it'll cool the track down in some parts, obviously. But it's not going to be that bad. I mean, it's only going to be for a little bit. I mean, if this track had complete cloud cover, I mean, you can just see right now, looking off, there's not really a lot of clouds over this. But right here, once you head down into 1 and 2, it's pretty cloudy here. But then once you hit the back straightaway, it gets pretty sunny, at least going down into turns 3 and 4. But, yeah, you can kind of see the peak of sunlight coming off. You're going to see me right here riding on board with Tyler King, last year's truck champion, heading down into 1 and 2. It starts to get sunny right here. Then it'll start to get cloudy. Let's try to look right here, possibly at the Kaufman Creative weather conditions, just to check it out and see what's going on. So here you go right now. Track temp 107. It's lowered a little bit. Wind speed's not really changed. Same with the air temp, but still mostly cloudy right now. Started this race with about partly cloudy skies. So clouds kind of rolling in, but probably only going to be for a brief time.
Yeah, it really hasn't changed that much. Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup iRacing Series Round 13 tonight at virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. Approaching lap 100. And right now, more green flag pit stops as now Toby Ritter's Clifford step up and take your mark to the top spot on the pylon. He's in first. Chris White, Paul Newton, Tyler King, Jason, they're on pit road.
And they're on pit road, which could be their final stop of the night. These guys trying to stretch it as much as they can. Here comes Ryan Bloom, who found himself 2 laps down, sits 18th. He's going to roll into pit road with that CLICKIT RV number 25. Here comes Toby Ritter's. I don't know about that one, man. He looks really, really awfully fast coming down to pit road, trying to get it slowed up. I mean, if he did, he barely got it loaded up. It looked like Jeff Stabnow had a fine entrance coming into the pits. But, man, you're going to have to execute these stops. Oh, he overshoots the box. Even another issue for Ritter's. That is not going to end up good. Not something he wanted. It's going to be valuable time. And, obviously, we're going to have to see if this 23 machine did, in fact, get a speeding penalty coming onto pit road.
Well, Charles will chime in or let us know. Obviously, he looked like he was speeding, but according to the Northwest officials, all good on entrance and exit for Clifford. Only mistake there was overshooting the pit box, Jason, and then you lose about, what, a half a second to a second to have to go back and reset. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but honestly, if you make that mistake, you lose 2 or 3 seconds gained on the racetrack because of it.
Yeah, definitely. And see, here's the thing, because obviously you could run a car one of two ways when it comes to the gearbox, obviously, on pit road. Now, somebody like myself, I have a wheel, like most sim racing wheels, that have paddle shifters. But I also have a Logitech stick shift, that I can run if I want to for that more realistic feel, or if I have something that has a clutch so I can, get that more realistic feel, or if it's more comfortability wise. But some of these guys like to run that gearbox. But the positive side about running what you would say, the paddle shifters, is you could just click that paddle, the left paddle, and downshift super quickly to get it in reverse when you're stopped, compared to having to reach over, grab the shifter knob, and shift it down into reverse, get backed up, make sure that you're back in first gear, and all the meanwhile stay focused. So in my opinion, it was always better to run paddles when you're running competitively, but obviously people run different setups. But yeah, definitely that costed Toby Ritters a little bit of time. I don't know what his setup's like. I don't know if he uses paddles or if he uses a shifter knob. I think I saw a setup once. I believe he uses a shifter knob, but definitely some valuable track time he lost there in the pits.
31.538 seconds for Dan West Jr. on the racetrack. Fastest man on the track is the fastest man in the lead right now. It's Dan West. Let's give the rundown as we're approaching 100 laps here in Atlanta. Dan West Jr. is the leader. Sean Brightsman is second. Joshua Marcy third. Chad Malik in fourth. That's 3 Toyotas behind the Chevrolet. Then in the top 5, another Chevrolet with Christopher White. 3 Fords in 6th, 7th, and 8th of Paul Newton, Tyler King, and Jeff Stabnow. A couple of Chevrolets to round out the top 10. Jason of Toby Ritters and BJ Tidrick.
It's been a great race so far, and obviously then you go down the running order. You got Gormley, Fletcher, Kamiri, Nichols, Kim, Daggett, Smith, and to name just a few others as well, obviously. There are only 12 cars right now listed on the lead lap right now, so green flag pit stops really shaking up everything. And obviously Dan West Jr. came into the pits quite a little bit ago, back at lap 81, so not that far away, but still some of these guys pitting around lap 92, some pitting at lap 89, so this was all tire strategy here and fuel. Some guys wanting to make it a 2-stopper, thinking it's going to be more valuable, like Brightsman, like Marcy, like Dan West Jr., and some guys trying to go to stretch it all the way. So if this race runs green, man, we're looking at a great race and strategy. This is really still anybody's race.
John Ottenbacher, of course, Kynes, Devin West out, 22 laps down. Ron Hunter, Carl Burke, Sam Teets, Robert Gamble, Roy Grande, the rundown. And real quickly, Virginia811.com, call before you dig, caution summary and race information. Jason just mentioned it, 1 caution flag of the race, 3 caution laps distance of course, 196 laps now, 7 lead changes. That's brought to you by Virginia811.com, reminding you, call before you dig, dig with care. And Jason approaching triple digits, and obviously it is Dan West Jr.'s night. Been strong in that 55. Sean Brightsman right there in second as we look at now. It looks like Nichols and Kamari going at it. That's for the car that's on the lap down and on the lead lap. A couple of cars a lap down, fighting to actually get on the tail end if the caution was to come out to get the free pass, if you will, Jason, I meant to say. And it looks like Nichols will clear Kamari for that spot. Star Wars and One Fine Studios battling there. I like the Star Wars car.
Oh, yeah. Big fan of Star Wars myself. I actually grew up with it. Besides me, whoa, we got some trouble back here. Tyler Kim, it looked like he was able to save it there, and that 38 machine got really, really loose coming off turn 4. That could have been a huge moment for a lot of drivers. And Wesley, that's the thing, is now that the strategy is kind of sunken in, you either want to see a caution or you don't.
Jason, give me your best Chewbacca.
Absolutely not.
I saw Star Wars on the car. I'm sorry, I had to do it. Chris White, Chad Malik right now, 4th and 5th on the racetrack, right, as the cars work back into turn number 1 and 2. Just a little humor there. Hey, Jason, and listen, Monday night, it was Win Racing, if you remember, at, of course, Richmond. They dominated 1, 2, 3. Now you've got Team LSRTV, though Joshua Marcy's kind of the wild card in that 3rd spot. Malik White top 5. You still got Team LSRTV 1 and 2 of Dan West Jr. and Sean Brightsman, and they are the creams of the crop right now here at Legacy Atlanta.
Yeah, and we'll just have to see how they do. Obviously, they're turning 33-second lap times. Some guys are turning 32-second lap times. So, will their strategy pay off? Obviously, here comes BJ Tidrick coming into the pits this time by, obviously. We'll see if he gets any penalties. Looks like he was clean. Yes, definitely. This is the last stop of the night here. Any more guys? Here comes Josh Marcy. He's coming to the pits too as well. Final stop of the night. Some of these guys think that pitting earlier on that last green flag cycle before was more important, getting them to another opportunity where they can pit and run faster lap times. And some of these guys stayed out a lot longer, tried to make it a one-stopper. We'll see how strategy plays out.
Pit stops on lap number 101 of 134, 33 laps to go, and here comes again drivers that are in the front making that final pit stop. I think we're going to see pit stops from lap 103 all the way down to 110 to 115, Jason, that we kind of hinted on earlier. And I'll be honest here, could we see some guys possibly be desperate and go for the undercut?
Yeah, I mean, we just did. We just saw Joshua Marcy come into the pit. That was his money stop, is what you like to call it. Lap 101. He can go all the way the distance now on a set of tires. But that was his plan all along. Same with Dan West Jr. I expect him to come into the pits here pretty soon, within the next 5 or 6 laps or so. Sean Brightsman, he's probably going to be coming into the pits here pretty shortly. He is now got the oldest tires out of everybody on the racetrack, sitting in that 2nd position. And he is running some of the slowest lap times out there. But some guys could kind of run slow, even with 8 lap or 10 lap, 20 laps sometimes even, fresher tires. So this 46 machine will probably be pitting here pretty shortly. Going to try to make it one more stop to the end on that fresh set of tires. I really do think, though, that with Joshua Marcy pitting at lap 101, I think it could work. But he's going to need these guys who pitted way later on that want to make it on a one-stopper here from that last green flag pit cycle. He's going to need them to run really slow, man.
Jason, who right now is praying for a caution flag?
Anybody inside that top 5. They would love to see this race have a yellow, probably, I'd say. I mean, I don't know, though. That's the thing. This race has been so all over the place right now. I want to say maybe Tyler Kim, Chris Kamiri, but they're in the back. They're drivers who are probably banking on trying to make it all the way to the end. Same thing with Toby Ritters. Another driver, Troy Daggett, last bit at lap 92. I honestly, Wesley, couldn't really even tell you who's probably praying for a caution more than likely. I think everybody is kind of stuck to their strategy, and if a caution were to come out, it would kind of throw a monkey wrench in everybody's plans.
Sean Brightsman down on pit road, giving up the bridesmaid spot. Money stop for the 46 driver from Puyallup, Washington, now from Tucson, Arizona, Jason. And that Brights Boutique 46 is looking for a flawless pit stop to take this to the checker.
He comes down pit road into his pit box. Going to take 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles this time. And I think this 46 machine could be sitting really good. We'll have to see how he cycles out after this green flag pit stop towards the end of this race.
Lap 107 of 134. Pace car has only rolled one time since the official start of the race off of pit lane for a caution as Chad Malik's in the wall. Almost got into the back of the right rear of Toby Ritters. What a great job by Ritters, not getting off on the gas and staying in speed to miss all of that just a moment ago to stay in 6th, Jason. That's for 6th and 7th spot.
Yeah, great recovery there by Chad Malik and Toby Ritters to not be able to cause a caution. Obviously, they want to stick to their plan. They want to go the distance. Chad Malik has a little bit older tires compared to Toby Ritters. Toby Ritters pitted lap 89, 82, so you could imagine that Toby Ritters is definitely a little bit faster than that 08 machine. Ryan Gormley closing in on him just about a second back. Currently pitted at lap 89, so you definitely know he's got faster tires for sure. But obviously, the thought of green flag pit stops coming up pretty soon for some of these guys, but also some of these guys wanting to make it all the way. We'll see how strategy plays out.
There is William Fletcher. Haven't really mentioned a lot about him tonight, but the outdoor cast iron cooking, number 28, doing well in his Ford. In on the lead lap, Jason, in 11th, last car on the lead lap, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that 28 machine of William Fletcher, great run for him here tonight, up 6 spots from where he started. And looking at the points right now, I don't believe, there's no way he's not going to make any of the, or I should say anything playoff-wise here, obviously. But when you look at his stats here from this season, no top 10s, no top 5s. I mean, he has not had a good season, to say the least. I mean, he's only run a few races. Looking at the stats, he has run a total, if I can get that stat, he has run a total of 7 races. So that is not a lot compared to Sean Bryceman, Paul Newton, who are running their 13th race here tonight. This is his 8th race this season, that 28 machine. But hey, he could come out of here with a top 10 tonight. That would be a great thing for him as well. 15 machine up and into the wall. Chris Camary entering turns 3 and 4. Don't know if there was an incident down the back straight away or what, but that car just tank slapped the wall entering 3.
Next week, we're at New Hampshire. Going to be a fun, exciting one of the course. Jason, 200 miles, 80 laps, Talladega Super Speedway. The final race, the wild card to determine the round of 12. That'll be fun. September 27th.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. I can't wait for that one. Talladega last year was definitely one to remember when it came down time for playoffs. Obviously, talked about Toby Ritters getting that win at Talladega in the Truck Series. He definitely could probably go out there and win here in this fixed car. But hey, Talladega, anybody could win.
Closing in on 20 laps to go when Dan West Jr. works his way back around to the start-finish line. It's Dan West Jr. Of course, there's Ryan Gormley right now in the top 10 in the 8th spot. 20 remaining when they come back to the line. And Dan West Jr. doing exactly what he needs to do to win, keep himself in contention to look at the postseason again for a multi-time champion of Northwest competition. 20 to go. We're going to go to the top of the hour real quickly and pause for network identification on CRN. Jason and I take you to the finish on deck from Atlanta next.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Gormley, Malik battling. That's for 7th. Under 20 to go. Wesley Outland and Jason Rockefeller alongside. Green flag pit stops. Jason continue. Tyler Kim on pit road with 19 remaining, and still Dan West Jr. out in front.
And Dan West Jr. has just done such a great job here tonight, pretty much dominating that 38 machine. Those on pit road, Tyler Kim, he's coming out now this time by with that American flag. Number 38, going to try to see if he can go all the way to the end. We'll have to see how everybody does.
Whoa!
Uh-oh. That 55 machine, man, that thing is hurt. And I tell you what, he's got to be coming into the pits here pretty soon. But I think that this 55, I don't know what he's going to do. We'll have to see here. He might stay out all the way, but I don't know.
Whoa! If he does, he has survived the ride of his life if he wins this race fighting that car. Let's go on board, Charles. 55. There's Chris White. He's in second, 3 seconds back. Let's go on board the double nickel. And Jason, let's see how hard there's from the front visor. Let's see on the camera of the driver how hard he's fighting this car going down into turn 3.
Oh, you can just hear him. He's barely on that throttle right now. He is barely on that throttle, man. That thing is absolutely hurting. He's just hoping and praying to get to the checker flag here pretty soon, because you got to imagine that thing is definitely not handling well for Dan West Jr.
Grinding in the turns, you can hear that. We mentioned that earlier. And believe it or not, it looks like he might be having a smooth Sunday afternoon. Whoa, look at that. Oh, boy. That might look like it's something simple, Jason, but that's literally fighting that loose car. As we just saw Newton go to the lead. Paul Newton just bounced by Dan West Jr. The road course king has gone to P1. He passed him on the inside. Excuse me, coming through.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Chris White crashes, and there's the caution. Oh, no. Chris White was in the top 3. And the late race caution with 15 to go has happened here in Atlanta. Did Jeff Stabnow, was that Jeff Stabnow and Chris White, did they get together, Jason? We're about to find out.
Yeah,
oh my
we're
goodness.
about to see.
There's King up top. Up top. Drifts up in front of him and turned him. Oh, no, and here comes. Oh, Stabnow. What the heck? Oh, Stabnow was driving to the grass to try to miss him is what he was trying to do. Oh, man.
Yeah. That was not pretty at all for Chris White after having such a good night. You know, a night where he could have really done something, and unfortunately just wrong place, wrong time there for that number 47 machine. Just comes up a little too early. You can see him get a little bit loose, and unfortunately just comes right up in front of the 21.
Jason, I got 3 words. This changes everything. Wow, and then he got into Camary. Stabnow did. This changes everything, and look at people still pitting. And even if, and by the way, the guy that got the mulligan here, look at Dan West Jr. beating Paul Newton off pit road. Wow. Even the dogs are happy.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Boy, oh boy. Joshua Marcy. Looks like Jason is going to be the new leader. I don't think he pitted. Got some pit notes with Charles Wooten. Charles, what you got for us as we go to the home stretch of this race?
I got nothing really, to be honest. I kind of figured we'd see a late race caution. We always do. I think, if my opinion, you know, I like Marshy, but I think he's a sitting duck out there.
Wow. Marcy is the equivalent of bringing a knife to a gunfight. And you're going to see that when Dan West Jr. and Toby Ritter split him. Jason, Toby Ritter's third.
Yeah.
What strategy?
And here's the thing. Here's the thing about Josh Marcy staying out here. Lap 101 compared to lap 120. Fresh tires. Brand new.
That's right.
Going to be
That's
cold,
right.
but they're a lot more grip. The tires that Joshua Marcy has are all uneven, grooved, riveted, everything. That car is not going to go. So I think what all these guys are thinking to themselves right now is, okay, how do we get around this 35 without stacking up the field, without running each other over, and all of us looking like a bunch, you know, of Dumbos, you know, here. That's going to be the real question. It's the truth. It's the truth, man.
That's right.
The tire.
You're right.
The wheel spin here is so dang bad. I cannot explain to you how bad the wheel spin is here, because I have been a victim of it myself in official races where somebody who thought that they could make $1 million after having a nickel the whole time, they thought that they were going to be a superhero and stay out and get track position and win. And they didn't. And I'm not calling Joshua Marcy out. This is a great strategy. He was running really well. And obviously, due to the yellow, he had to make an evasive maneuver and say, okay, I'm going to stay out. We'll see how this goes. But just because of it, man, lap 101 compared to lap 120, this is going to be very bad for Joshua Marcy here, and he better be ready for it.
Next Wednesday night, penultimate race of the regular season. New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Magic Mile. Next Wednesday night, Talladega in 2 weeks. Top 12 get locked in. We got to settle this one here at Atlanta. Second caution of the race, by the way. And we get ready for a restart when the field comes back to the Geico restart zone. 11 laps to go. Marcy, used tires. Dan West Jr. on the outside. Ritter's right behind Marcy. King, Newton, Stabnow, even bonsaiing through the grass to miss Christopher White. He's still in the top 6. We're back to green. And look at Marcy. Oh! Ritter's turn! Ritter's turn! Marcy on the race. Oh, no! And no caution, though. 11 to go, Jason. Look at Stabnow battling Newton for second up on the outside.
You can't say that wasn't going to happen. Toby Ritter's tried to go places, nowhere for him to go without trying to get back to the throttle fully. Nothing he could do right there. Unfortunately, gets into the back of him. But hey, side by side, we're still green. Heartbreak for Marcy. Potential win in front of these guys now. 10 laps to go. Dan West Jr. love it when he's seeing behind him. Door handle to door handle, 2x2, heading into 3.
Oh, problems. Ritter's got into Stabnow. Ritter's into Stabnow. Stabnow spinning. He's below the apron. He fights to get back on the racetrack. He goes all the way outside the top 15. He's out of it. Stabnow's out. We still stay green. 10. Now make it 9 to go when they come out of turn 4. Battle for the lead in this pack somewhere. This is going on in the top 10. Gormley and Brightsman. And while that goes on, Dan West Jr. is pulled away from Tyler King.
Fastest lap of the race, Dan West Jr. Last time 31.4. Oh no, Brett Johnson involved in a wreck, but below the racing surface, no harm, no foul. We stay green. I also cannot believe, just want to point out that Jeff Stabnow somehow managed to save that thing, man. He was wrecked. There was no way he was saving that. Sure enough, he did Jeff Stabnow things, and he was able to save it and prove us wrong. But
and Jason,
back to the front,
no, I was going to say, Jason, let them know. That's the reason why we didn't see no caution flag, because these incidents are happening below the bottom of the racetrack, below the apron, not on the racing surface.
Yeah, anytime a car is sideways below the bottom of the racing surface, even if it's the leader, there will not be a caution that iRacing will detect any kind of trouble. So that will be up to the admins. Will they want to throw the caution and hit the quick caution button on whatever their hotkey is for it? But with that being said, iRacing official services will not throw the yellow flag only when a car is turned about 90 degrees at a certain rate of speed on the racing surface. Even if a car is the leader's 90 degrees on the racing surface, usually a yellow will not come out. That's what the great thing about iRacing has, a great detection system. So that's why there has not been any yellows, but man, we could see yellow here possibly. Everybody's getting very dicey up on the front.
Nichols, Smith, Daggett in front of them. And that was going on right there in the top 10 for 7th, 8th, and 9th. And Daggett goes back to 7th now. Look at Chad Malik off the wall, off the safer barrier. He's in 10th. And 6, now make it 5 laps to go when DWJ works off turn number 4 and sees 5 remaining when they flash under the flag stand here in Atlanta.
This is so interesting to see. Dan West Jr., who has practically dominated this entire race, having last year's Truck Series champion all over his bumper almost, and the gap is slowly closing. It's now 0.25 seconds back to 0.3. It looks like Dan West Jr. is better at getting into the corner, but Tyler King is just better on exit this time by. 4 laps to go. Will Tyler King have anything left for last week's winner, trying to make it 2 in a row here in Atlanta?
It was 5 car lengths. Now it's back down to 3 car lengths as Tyler King trying to work his ascent to run down Dan West Jr. down the back straightaway. Working turn number 3 now as they work off the corner, back up the banking. Dan West Jr., abrasive Atlanta, doing what he needs to do to put himself in victory lane for the 2nd time this year. Coming to the line, 3 to go this time by.
3 laps to go. That number 55 is getting smaller and smaller in that 21's mirror. It's now 5/6 of a second. Not enough time. Tyler King could use the yellow. He could also use that 55, somehow getting loose and having something of a miss, but we'll have to see coming down this time by with 2 laps to go. Dan West Jr. looking to get 2 in a row, back-to-back at Michigan, and now Atlanta this week. 2 to go this time.
It is DWJ working at Team LSRTV 55 to the line, back up the banking. It is now 3 miles remaining for him in his 2nd win on the season and be firing on all cylinders on the road to the playoffs for the round of 12. 2 to go. He's on the back stretch, and this gaggle of traffic continues off of turn number 2 is Buchholz. Hold on to it. They're coming to the line. This is it. Jason White flag in the air. 1 more lap to go.
And what a night it has been for Dan West Jr. Practically dominated here tonight. Back to back. It's looking like it's going to be here on the last lap. Dan West Jr., winner at Michigan last week over his son. Tonight, looking to get a win over last year's truck champion Tyler King for the final time in 3.
Dan West Jr., Team LSRTV, number 10 in the points, running to the playoffs. 2nd win of the year for the Shelton, Washington driver. He dominates in Atlanta. Tyler King will finish in that 2nd spot for Win Racing. Paul Newton, what a great job for him. Oh, how about Christopher White? Jason crashed, under 20 to go. What a comeback to finish in 4th. This might be his sound off, his final race with us.
Yeah, we'll
what a
have
way to go
see
out.
how that goes. What a drive by Chris White, though. He had that faster pair. I believe these guys are limited to 1 faster pair, and that's ultimately what he used to come home in 4th. But needless to say, man, what a race by a lot of these guys. A lot of clean racing. Great racing. Dan West Jr., man, what a run for him in that 55. Again, 2 weeks in a row. Oh, well, there's the Northwest Salute high five. That was terrible. I hope he's
that's
okay.
That's the whole back end of the fuel cell going in the 55 car. I love the new damage model. Oh, wow. Tubby Ritters, props to him. Clifford, Win Racing, Jason, top 5. Who's he going to tear up from the floor up in the high 5 salute tonight?
Here he comes. We're about to find out right here as he works around, gets
Oh,
Kevin.
the boss!
What a hit.
It was the boss.
He killed the boss. Oh, and Sean Brightsman kills him.
Oh, you got to love it. It's our way of wrapping up the races every night. The Northwest High 5 salute and bonsais by everybody. Kevin Smith just got... Okay, Daggett, who you going after? Daggett, Troy Daggett, who will it be? Good run for the 99 tonight, by the way. And your person to hit will be? Nobody. Oh, there's nobody left to hit. Let's look at the results. 2 races remain in the regular season. Penultimate race next week at New Hampshire, and then on to Talladega. We lock in the round of 12 from there for the first playoff race again on October the 4th at Indianapolis. Here's your results. Dan West Jr., 2nd win of the year. Tyler King will finish in 2nd. Paul Newton again, strong run for 3rd. Chris White, 4th. How about it for Ryan Gormley, the prodigy, top 5. Clifford Toby Ritter's good run tonight for Win Racing. 6th, Kevin Smith for Win Racing. 7, Chad Malik, a way to represent the 08 car, Jason, in the top 10, as well as Troy Daggett. And even though he made the mistake, Jason, on that restart, Jeff Stabnow still comes back to finish in the top 10. Consistency for the Billings, Montana driver.
No doubt about it tonight, Wesley. Top 20, you got William Fletcher, Gary Nichols. Sean Brightsman, saw him earlier on, kind of faded back. Strategy just didn't work his way. BJ Tidrick, Harris, Marcy, Kamiri, Ryan Bloom, heartbreaker for him, a night of what could have been. He's the first one lap down. Tyler Kim, 19th. Brett Johnson rounds out the top 20.
Finishing 21st, John Annenbacher, several laps down is Chris Kynes. Devin West, all right. Jason, I don't think per se he was wanting to win. Obviously, when he got penalized with that pit road penalty, he just exited, but he gets credit for being here for the race. I think that's all he cares about right now and needing to get 12. Ron Hunter, 24th. Carl Burke, tough night for the legend, 25th. Teeks, Gamble, Grande, the rundown. Scott Hutchinson attempted to run the race, but backed out before the green. Final look at the Virginia811.com caution race summary. 2 cautions, 8 caution laps, 10 lead changes, and probably, Jason, the most important one of all, Dan West Jr. getting around Joshua Marcy before the hiccup to put his car 55 in victory lane.
Yeah, no doubt about it there. I mean, what a night for Dan West Jr. and what a night for a lot of these guys. A lot of good finishes here tonight. And I guarantee you they're looking forward to next week as well.
Coming up, we have the Press Box Motorsports Podcast post-race show report. We'll grab the top 3, and we'll wrap things up in Atlanta, get you reset for next week for the trucks playoffs. Getting ready for next week, of course, at Michigan, and then, of course, we go to New Hampshire for the penultimate regular season race for next Wednesday night for this series. Don't go anywhere. We're back from Atlanta. Jason and I, just a moment. Dan West Jr., big win for the Washington driver. Back here at Legacy Atlanta. Welcome back. It's time for the Press Box Motorsports Podcast Show post-race report. The Press Box Motorsports Podcast Show coming soon to LSRTV, YouTube, and Facebook, and all podcast outlet platforms very soon. Of course, hosted by producer-director Charles Wooten. I'm Wesley Outland. Jason Rockefeller has stepped away to take care of the barking dogs that you heard in the background for the remaining 20-30 laps of the race. We'll get his final thoughts very soon. But third place, Paul Newton. Normally a road course guy. That Paul Newton Designs Ford looked really good, Paul. A solid podium on the road to the playoffs. You're taking tonight in Atlanta, sir.
Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet. I think Beaver State Racing was poised for a 1-2 finish there until the caution didn't fall at the right time at the end. So getting third is awesome. I got some great coaching in race from my teammate Tyler, and we'll go forward from here.
Tell you, if we wouldn't have seen that caution that came out when Chris White crashed, I think you were really showing your momentum strengths of getting around Dan West Jr. and just kind of finding your stride, but that yellow flag really changed the complexion of everything, didn't it?
Well, we had a tire advantage on them there, and so when yellow came out, everybody came in the pit, and that kind of erased that, and it didn't help that I didn't have a good pit stop, so I had to fight from there.
A final question, segue this into thanking your sponsors. How much fun are you having running these if you will, speedway, intermediate tracks, short tracks, super speedways, and because normally you're very successful in making lefts and rights and chicanes and bus stops and the road course guy. That's what we call you, the road course king. Do you feel like you're adapting well to running the regular tracks?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's really coming to me now. I got to unlearn some of the habits that I learned in road racing, and saving those tires is number one, so that's what it's all about. So I want to thank my sponsors, PaulNewtonDesign.com, Trading Paints, and Peel's California Mandarins. And I want to thank the Northwest Racing Series, LSRTV, and CLICKIT RV.
And the points have updated. Paul Newton, believe it or not, Jason, we'll get his thoughts before we go off the air, but unofficially, Paul Newton, you are now the points leader by 1 point over Sean Breitzman, going into the penultimate regular season race next week at New Hampshire. What do you think of that?
That's really unexpected. Thank you.
Paul Newton, the new points leader, third tonight for consistence of the Road Course King. Tyler King, will grab him. He finishes second. Tyler, take of the race, man. I'll tell you what, though. The Band-Aid 21 car getting better and better on this series week in, week out. Nothing wrong with silver. Your take of tonight's race at Atlanta for you.
Yeah, just thankful to be racing on Wednesdays and stock cars, getting out of that Monday night racing, man. I tell you what, I need lots of Band-Aids in that series. Everybody's a magnet to me. I got a little magnetated today and cost us a 1-2 finish, unfortunately. But I'll take second place. You know, I was expecting it, but I was hoping to be behind Paul. Had a bunch of troubles to even get into the server this morning. Didn't practice. Had to race on my TV instead of my Oculus, so that was quite an adjustment. But, you know, just took it easy, saved my tires best I could, and I found out, you know, if I just took it really easy, I could pass everybody, or most everybody. So those long runs were really helpful for me. The short run was pretty tough. I hadn't run at speed or, you know, a race pace, like for real, at all until right then, so I didn't know what the heck was going to happen.
And I will tell you this, can we go back to the Truck Series Monday night? Being the defending champion, do you obviously feel like you've got that bullseye on you because of a crowning that achievement last November, and of course, you know, racing and having the competition that you're dealing with now? Does it feel like just week in, week out, there's just, and we could ask Dan West Jr. the same thing, being a Truck Series champion also, it's just, do you feel like the bullseye's on you and everybody's watching every move you make and they don't want you to be that guy there at the end of next year as well?
Well, I don't think there was a bullseye. I think my truck and uniform was similar to the crash test dummies in the 90s. But, you know, I just had so much bad luck. I'm just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And anytime I'm in a good spot, I, you know, take the gun and shoot me right in the foot. And, you know, just fall back. And I just, you know, I've been happy with my 15th place finishes. You know, we've been running good on Wednesdays. As per normal, you know, we got a bunch of top fives, a bunch of top tens. We're running up front. And, yeah, I'm just happy to be back in the Xfinity cars.
Final question, segue this into thanking your sponsors. Consistency, obviously, is that now what you're going to do to try to make that run to make the playoffs, to be in the top 12?
Well, we're locked in. You know, we got the win at Texas earlier in the year, so
yeah,
you know, just do what we normally do. Is just chase checkered flags. That's all we want to do, is win races, and you'll get places.
Well, and Tyler King, obviously, with making this race tonight with one win earlier, as you mentioned, 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s, you have put yourself into the playoffs. So we know that you'll be going in, obviously, by being in the points and, of course, having the races needed as well as wins, the trifecta. Before I let you go, man, thank your sponsors, and good job tonight for second.
Yeah, for sure. Got to thank everybody at Beaver State Racing. Band-Aids, needed them a lot this year in some series. Thanks to Paul for painting the car. He does awesome work on Train Paints. Check him out. He's the best painter of all time. He's got lots of cool stuff. Thanks to everybody at LSRTV that puts on the show. Jeff, Sean, John, everybody involved behind the scenes in the league. Appreciate everybody and everything you do. And thanks, Kevin, and CLICKIT RV.
There you go. There's the driver, of course, Tyler King, and he will finish in the number 2 position. Let's go to victory lane. Dan West Jr. Hey, he climbs 4 spots. By the way, there is a tie. Want to say, is there? No. My apologies. Wait a minute. You are in third. Tyler King was in third going into the race, so he still stays locked at third right now, 50 points back, 51 back to Paul Newton. However, the highest climber of the race is the winner of the race to make it into the top 12 in the playoffs right now with 2 regular season races to go. Dan West Jr., you climb 4 spots from 10th to 6th. Second win of the year, and pretty much put yourself in the playoffs. Congratulations on another win, sir.
Thank you, Wesley. I hope we didn't use up all our luck in that one, though. I actually saved that last run quite a bit, just kind of watching the relative and felt pretty good. And unfortunately, we had a faster car that had a little net code and caught us, and I didn't give him enough room and got into the back of us a little bit, which gave me a 4X, which is not a big deal, right? You wouldn't think, but I lost all speed. I mean, I lost like 3 to 4 seconds a lap, and then the caution come out. So very fortunate situation, or else I'd probably be barely in the 15.
Caution came out when Chris White had his problems, obviously, and that changed the entire complexion of the race. The restart, getting around Joshua Marcy. I know you were on the outside there. Did you feel like that was going to happen? Obviously, whenever Ritters gave the bumper to Marcy, and I mean, it really nothing that Ritters can do, right? I mean, Marcy's slow and he's in the way, and it's like, hey, I'm trying to beat you, move.
Yeah, I think I heard him call out that he had like 19 lap old tires, and I mean, that's pretty tough here to really try to accelerate like that. So I was trying to lag back a little bit just because I was afraid I'd beat him to the line. So I felt like, we were in a really good spot on the outside, not trapped behind a car with used tires. So I seen that Band-Aid car behind me, and he was giving me a run all the way to the end.
I'll tell you what, obviously Devin is your son, and he's got to do what he's trying to do to make the wins and make the playoffs and do what he's got to do. But also, Dan, you've got to do what you've got to do. Do you try to help him now? And is there really any helping him? Is it Devin's got to do his own thing? Obviously, a disappointing race for him tonight here at Atlanta, but Dad done well.
Yeah, there's only so much a teammate can do, right? I mean, we all are out here to, if we can help, we will, but at the end of the day, we kind of just run our own show and see where you land, right? I mean, but there's only so much you can do. I mean, Devin's smart enough, and I feel like a good enough driver that he'll be fine. He just needs to finish these races.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why we saw him back out, because like you said, just need the starts. Right now needs 12, and right now I think he has 10. So 2 more needed, and basically got to run New Hampshire, got to run Talladega, and then just try to be in the top 12. I mean, there's just so much pressure. Obviously, Dan, you've been in this a long time, multi-time Truck Series champion. It's totally a different race mode whenever you're getting into the playoffs, running for the championship, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. The focus is way more intense. You don't give as much to other drivers, and you just try to save your stuff and get as best finish as you can. Where earlier on in the year you're trying to go for checkers, get them wins, but now it's all about getting those last minute points that you gave up earlier in the year.
Well, Bud, congratulations. Before I let you go, thank your sponsors on the Double Nickel out of Shelton, Washington. A big win also for Team LSRTV again.
Thanks, Wesley. Thanks, Effective Web Solutions, LSRTV, CRN, CLICKIT RV. Appreciate everything they've done for us, and Northwest Racing Series. Thanks, guys.
2 wins on the year. Climbs the points now, up 4 spots to now move his way into now the 6th position. New Hampshire, Talladega, final 2 points of the regular season. Winner tonight at Atlanta from Shelton, Washington, the number 55, Dan West Jr. We'll take a break. When we come back, Jason and I wrap things up from Legacy Atlanta. This is coverage of the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series, iRacing on LSRTV and CRN, the Community Radio Network. Dan West Jr., the winning tonight. We'll get final thoughts when we return.
Time. It slips through our fingers like sand, flowing endlessly, yet holding immeasurable power within its grasp. Tick by tick, it shapes our lives, marking the moments that define us. For 10 long years, the Lone Star 600 has carved a path of endurance through time, a race unlike any other, where the boundaries of human and machine are pushed to their limits. Over 180 cars, their engines roaring in unison as drivers push the limits of their cars and themselves. For 300 laps each night, they dance with danger, locked in a race against time itself. The Lone Star 600 is a testament to human resilience. It's not just a race, it's a test of wills, a fight against the unforgiving clock. Join us as we celebrate a decade of unparalleled speed and unyielding determination. The 10th annual Lone Star 600, a race that defies time and etches itself into racing history.
Some of these guys, I've been racing with them a long time, and they are good. They are real good. Winning a race like this is a big deal.
Well, there you have it. Hey, another exciting race here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway to, of course, my right, your left on the broadcast, of course, is Mr. Jason Rockefeller. I am Wesley Outland. Jason, we heard the thoughts of all these drivers. The run to the playoffs is on. The race to get 12 is on. You know, you've got so many scenarios that all of these guys in the Northwest are trying to achieve amongst themselves. Team-wise.
Oh my goodness! Don't even get me started. But hey, I love the B car running at Talladega. It's a lot of fun. You could push really hard. The only thing is, obviously, with how high up the back end of those cars are, it's hard to see what's going on in front of the guy that you're pushing. So that's definitely going to be some controversy. But tonight was definitely fun. It was nice to see the old Atlanta back on, have some cars back on track here on iRacing. Really liked it. Looking forward to next week in New Hampshire.
Not going to lie to you, I had that song by Genuine and Ludacris in my head, Welcome to Atlanta where the players play all night long. And Ludacris in my head, Welcome to Atlanta where the players play all night long. And, of course, we kind of saw that here tonight. Any and everybody at one time could have won this race. And then, obviously, come down to some new drivers of Tyler King, Paul Newton, Christopher White, Ryan Gormley, Toby Ritters, guys that have really stepped up here, Jason. And it's not the same old song and dance of drivers that we've seen win the championships or make it in the playoffs before. I know you're yawning. We're about to go to bed myself. I know you are as well. But yeah, man, any and everybody can literally have a shot to win this championship now. They just got to be consistent, be patient, I think, and play their cards right.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And that's what's going to take a champion. I mean, look at some of the previous champions. I mean, you look back, and obviously I know we obviously do the playoff system when it comes time for the playoffs. It's just when it comes to the regular season, we do it old points format, which I kind of like. It's actually really nice. But with that being said, you look back at 2003 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series at that time. Matt Kenseth only had one win that whole season. Compared to so many other drivers that held multi-win seasons. You look at Bobby Labonte, you look at Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, I believe, too. A couple other guys, probably Tony Stewart, one win, but just consistency is what won him that championship just a week or two prior to the season being over, similar to what Alex Palou just did in the NTT IndyCar series a couple weeks ago, was awarded the series, after Portland, right before they went to Laguna Seca. So if you could be consistent in these playoffs and show up and get top 10s, top 5s, a win is great, but top 10s are what really matter at the end of the day.
It's kind of funny, Jason, that you mentioned that. Mark James of IndyCar Radio, good friend and colleague, he was on Finish Line today, and we were kind of talking about Alex Palou and that consistency to become the NTT IndyCar Series champion. So no doubt about it, for sure. Hey, listen. Don't sleep on New Hampshire. We know the wild card's Talladega, but we go to New Hampshire next week, Jason, in closing. And I think that could be also a race where it could be unpredictable. We've seen green flag runs. We've seen caution fests. We just don't know what this car is going to provide yet.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, the only real thing you can think about is obviously if you've driven that track on iRacing like myself. I've never done any official stuff at New Hampshire except running in the trucks, and that's a whole different animal compared to the Xfinity Series car. Or if you're people like me and you, when it comes to the broadcasting side or just as a fan, all you can look back is previous races, how the Xfinity cars handle there when you're watching broadcasts on NBC or Fox Sports or whatever it is. It's a 2-lane racetrack, but depending on how your car is set up, it's hard to pass. But that's what makes that track so good. And it's really anybody's race next week, especially on a thick setup. It's just going to be about who can get around the magic mile the fastest.
All right, Jason, go to bed. Always great working with you, my friend. Have a great night. We give you one more look at the racetrack. Always in fun times with Jason Rockefeller. I'm Wesley Outland. Thank you, everybody at Rocket Racing Media. Of course, Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten, everybody with the Northwest Racing Series, LSRTV, and CRN. Paul Newton, now the new points leader. New Hampshire, Talladega, your final 2 races of the regular season. By the way, next Monday night, Terry Radford joins me back in the booth again for the continuation of the Season 10 Northwest Truck Series playoffs presented by CLICKIT RV, and that will be at Michigan. Michigan next Monday, New Hampshire next Wednesday. The run to the playoffs of the Northwest Racing Series continue only on Community Radio Network and the home of sim racing, Live Sim Racing, LSR TV. Good night from Atlanta. Enjoy the rest of your week, and congratulations again to Dan West Jr. winning here for his 2nd season win at Atlanta.